What is going on, guys? Chris here, and welcome back to another episode where we're going to be solving the Skewb. A pretty interestingly named puzzle, but definitely appropriate because this is a Skewb, I suppose. So let's get started. I have here an actual Skewb because if I'm going to be trying to show you how I solve this puzzle, I kind of need to show you on the actual Skewb because this actually gets really confusing because there's so many different parts. Basically on a normal Skewb you have square pieces and corners, and here you have square pieces, corner number 1 and corner number 2, and it doesn't help that these square pieces have 3 colours, which makes you think it's a corner when it's actually one of these. So let's give this guy a little scramble and let's just get started with this video. In terms of it being a Skewb, it is exactly a Skewb. That's the mechanism on the inside. It's exactly the same puzzle, so not really any issues there. So here it is. So we're going to be solving the Skewb using a sort of very simple beginner's method. I'll actually show you with a solve real quick. So it is kind of layer by layer, and this is when I show you guys how crap I am at Skewb. So we're going to get one face like this on the Skewb. Then we're going to do the top layer, basically just using sledgehammer moves, just like that. And then we're going to do exactly the same move to get yellow on top, like that. And then we're going to finally solve the last U-perm with exactly the same move. So you basically only need to know a sledgehammer or a variation of the sledgehammer, and that's the puzzle solved. And that's the method we're going to be using here because I don't know a better one. So getting started, like I said, we have the 4-sided square pieces and the corners. So we're going to start by building around one of the 4-sided pieces, and like I said, it looks like a corner, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So that's the basis of our first layer. So let's just get started with that. It doesn't really matter which one you start with, but I always begin with this one because it helps me kind of know where I am on the opposite side. So it's going to be white, red, blue, meaning the opposite one is going to be yellow, green and orange. So that's kind of where I'm going to start, putting our first corner right here, just like on a normal Skewb. Likewise with this one. Now this looks very confusing and this really threw me off when I first started. This is not a layer, so this is not the bottom white face. That's just not how it works. Don't try and build it layer by layer that way, it just won't happen. So we're going to ignore this piece for now, even though it's in the right place. We're focusing purely on these corner pieces. So this red piece is flipped incorrectly, so let's give that a little spin like that, and that leaves just this last blue piece, and that should be nice and easy to do, I think. Just requires a little turn, except I turned it the wrong way, oopsie daisy, like that, and there's our first layer done. There is an aeroplane flying overhead, and every time that happens I have a little mini tea break because it's super loud down the camera and really annoying. Oh, it's gone. Okay, let's carry on. So next we're going to do the top layer, and this can be a little bit more confusing. Now we don't have the right piece up here, we actually want the yellow, orange and green, which is here. But we don't need to worry about that yet either. All we really need to do is get the corners solved. And by the looks of things, they're all pretty wrong right now. And we can tell because when this is solved, it forms a cube. So I guess this is right for now because it's opposite blue and it's forming a cube. I don't know how easily you're going to be able to see that, but this top layer is going to be green here. And we can see that it's flush and 90 degrees with the white face and directly opposite the blue face. So this green is fine. This red is not fine. this red, green and yellow corner is bad because we actually want a red here. This yellow is fine because, as you can see, it matches up 90 degrees, forms the cube, and it's opposite the white. All good. And this orange is obviously not fine because it needs to be flush. So trying to figure out which way it goes is the next challenge. So we need this to flip clockwise, which means this piece is pointing towards us if it was a normal Skewb, meaning we need to turn this clockwise, this one clockwise, and we hold the two solved ones in the front left and back right. And then we're going to use this middle piece as sort of the middle square. And before I do that, I'm going to have another tea break because there is another aeroplane flying overhead. Lucky me. Let's try and do this algorithm before before another one comes past. So, using this as kind of like the front face, like this, we're going to do our algorithm. Just a sledgehammer, like so. And that should have thrown everything into disarray, which it looks like it has. Oh, except this one. What has that done? Oh god, what has that done? Do I need to do another one? No. Oh god, no. I think all of these are wrong now, actually, which is what we wanted. So it's definitely 2. How confusing. I can't even solve a normal Skewb. So it might be a little bit of trial and error here. Okay. That's the really confusing thing about the Skewb is that it properly throws you off. It really kind of messes with your perception of what needs doing, just because you have no real idea if it's oriented correctly or not. By the looks of things, we have got it now though, which is good, because if you look at all the corner pieces and ignore the rest of the pieces, it forms a cubic shape and everything is in the right place and it looks okay. So that's probably the hardest part of this solve done. Just getting that right is really difficult to do because you can never really tell whether these need to move clockwise or anti-clockwise. That's done though, that's good. We have the yellow, blue and orange on top. We have the white, blue and red on the bottom. So we know that that's wrong. We want the yellow, orange and green on top. So that's right here. So we're going to hold that in the back. We're going to keep our built layer on the bottom and we're going to do that sexy move again. And then we're going to turn the cube 180 degrees and do it on the other side. And that should keep everything in place and it should pop the correct piece on the top, which it has done. So these two centers are now done. Well, center pieces, the middle pieces, the square pieces. So this is in the right place, it's just oriented incorrectly. We don't need to worry about that just yet. We finish that at the end. So now another little tricky bit here is getting these all in the right spot. Now by the looks of things, we don't have any in the right place. So we have either a H perm or a Z perm. There's not really anything we can do about that. Yeah, another aeroplane. Lucky me. So the way we get around this is we basically turn a Z or a H perm into a U perm. So we're going to hold the two correctly placed centers on the left and the right, and we're going to do exactly the same move that we just did. So that's a sexy move, 180 degree turn, and then we're going to do it again. And as you can see, it's really coming together now, which is great. So now we have our first face that we built. We have this center correct, and then we have this one correct. So now we do just have a U-perm. So we just need to figure out which pieces go where. So this piece here needs to go in the back, this piece needs to go here, this piece needs to go here. So because this needs to go 180 degrees, well not 180 degrees, needs to go to the back anyway, we're going to hold that in the front and we're going to solve with the same algorithm again. And this will essentially solve the puzzle, except for the one issue of these pieces being incorrectly placed. Now, this is probably the most annoying part of the solve, because we need to orient these all correctly. As you can see, they're all in the right place, it's just not oriented. So, what we do to get around this is we just do a sexy move cycle, and that's 6 sexy moves to kind of get it back to a solved state, and that will swap 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll do a 180-degree flip on 4 pieces. So we need to get to a setup where we have 4 of them done incorrectly so that we can solve it with one final cycle of 6 sexy moves. So the best way to hold this when you have 2 next to each other is to have 1 in the top, 1 in the middle here, and it will swap 1, 2, 3, 4, which means we'll end up in a state where we have 2 opposite ones flipped incorrectly. So let's just do that. So that's 1 sexy, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now we have these 2 opposite ones. So now we want to hold them on the top and the bottom, and that will flip this one correctly. It'll ignore this one, and it will flip these 3, which means we'll have the optimal 4 unflipped pieces. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now it looks like I've totally messed it up, but it is okay. We're gonna be fine. So we have 1 on the top, 2, 3, 4. And because the algorithm does these 4, this last cycle will solve the puzzle. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There you go. So that whole last step is a little bit confusing because you never have to deal with that on a normal Skewb. That's just an extra added difficulty. But luckily, because I've solved things like the twisty Skewb, where you do have to worry about orientation, I already knew how to do that. It was just a matter of getting the setup correct, because really, frustratingly, that algorithm does 4 sets of pieces. But there it is, the Skewskewb. This is a really, really nice puzzle, actually. I enjoy this a lot because the Skewb is very easy once you know how to solve it. And by the same logic, you would have thought a Skewb shape mod would be very easy. And to a point, stuff like the twisty Skewb is very easy. But this adds a real kind of extra level of challenge just with the orientations of all the pieces, and it's not entirely clear which pieces belong to which layer, especially when it's so cubic, and you start to see parts of the cube kind of reforming mid-solve. It can really throw you off. So this is a really nice puzzle, probably one of my favorite Skewb based puzzles at the moment. So that's really awesome. And if you are interested in checking this out, I'll have a link in the description where you can buy it from Cubes UK, and if you use my discount, you will get 5% off. So definitely go and do that if you're interested. That is going to do it from me though, guys. This was longer than I thought it would be, so hopefully that's okay. But have a really awesome day. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.